I am Alex Winokur. I'm the acting director of enrollment management here at Fountain Valley School. And we have a panel today to talk a little bit about college counseling. We're going to have a little bit of a presentation and then a little bit of a chat time. Right now we have the Associate Director of College Counseling, Mr. Steven Jackson is here. We have our Athletic Director to talk a little bit about athletic recruiting, Mr. Jeff Harlan. And then we have three of our students. We have Caleb, Sam, and Will, who will talk a little bit about their process and what they've been through and how Fountain Valley was able to help them out. If you have anything in the meantime, question-wise, please feel free to put it in the chat, put it in the Q&A. We will come back to that. I'll do my best to type answers, but if you have anything that you want to ask, you can put it in the Q&A as well. So to start off here, let me make sure everything's good. I do want to point out that Mr. Kurtzman, who is our Director of College Counseling, is away right now. He is visiting another school and looking into their college counseling process. But we do have a recorded version of him to help out. So, and also if anyone can't see the screen, please feel free to chat, put in the Q&A, raise your hand, do something just to let me know that we're all good from a sharing and sound standpoint. So here's the college counseling team that we have here at Fountain Valley School. We have a three-person team: Director, Mr. Kurtzman, the Associate Director, who's here today, Mr. Jackson, and then the Administrative Assistant, Ms. Foster. I always tell her whenever I go and bring people over there, she's kind of the glue that holds the office together. So that is our three-person college counseling team, which is pretty good considering we only have about 220 students. So Mr. Kurtzman and Mr. Jackson get to know the students very, very well, and you'll learn that from our students. So the first thing we have is a recording from Mr. Kurtzman, who's going to tell you a little bit about the philosophy of college counseling at Fountain Valley.
Good evening, everyone. I am so sorry that I am not able to be there with you live and in person, or live anyway. I'm out traveling for the school, but wanted to just drop in and tell you a little bit about me and about our office's college counseling philosophy. So about me, this is my first year at Fountain Valley, and so glad to be here. Had been looking for a long time for a great school to come to out west, and I'm glad that I found it. We've had a really good first year. Kids are fun and interesting. The environment is healthy in terms of the college search, and we've had some great results so far. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about our office philosophy. As you can see, starting in the top right, we are very lucky to be able to focus 100% on fit, on finding the right school for students and their families. We are under no pressure to develop a fancy list of schools. We do not feel like we have to have pressure on us personally in order to recommend certain places or push students certain places. We can 100% focus on helping students find the right place for them. And so we're going to spend a lot of time in our college search journey helping students learn about themselves and then learning about different colleges so that we can make that equation work out well. And so ultimately, this is something that a lot of college counseling offices will say, but a lot of college counseling offices can't really do it because their schools don't really allow them to. And so we're really thankful that here at Fountain Valley, that's the approach that we all agree on. Number two, we believe very strongly in a student-led process. Yes, we are here to give lots of support and advice, and parents are too as well. But we really think it's important that students take the lead in this process. And there's a number of reasons for that. Number one, that's how they're going to find their way to the place that's right for them. And number two, that's how they're going to learn and grow throughout the process. They're going to acquire skills and habits that they'll need when they're in college and we're not there right alongside of them. So things like persistence and the ability to meet deadlines and compassion for other people. Those are all the kinds of things that they're going to learn, not to mention specific skills like being able to write an email to someone or call someone on the phone or just take responsibility for something and see it through. So we really believe really strongly in that, and we're grateful that that's part of the Fountain Valley experience that we can build on. Number three, we provide personalized and individualized counseling. We are very lucky to have very low caseloads of 25 to 30 students each. That allows us to really get to know students and families well, and also to give them the specific counseling experience that they need. We know that there are a huge range of aspirations and different timelines, and everybody's in a different place. And so we're really grateful that we can spend that time with students to help them along the way. So we certainly do have well-developed programming that gives the basics to everybody, and then we rely a lot on individual counseling. Our students know that they can come see us as often as they want, for as long as they want. They know that we're going to respond quickly to their emails. That's the kind of counseling that's really great to be able to provide to students. I went to a big public high school outside of Chicago, got a great education, but I never talked to a college counselor, don't even know if there was one, and certainly don't know what they wrote about me in a recommendation. Uh, so I think we're really lucky to be able to work with such a small group of students. Number four, Fountain Valley students go to a huge range of schools. We have a wide range of aspirations, from nearby public universities to far away, highly selective uh, national universities, small liberal arts colleges, service academies like the Air Force Academy or West Point, art schools, all kinds of possibilities. And we love that that's the case here. It's really hard for a school to have a healthy college counseling environment if everybody is trying to cram into the same few schools. But here we know that every outcome will be honored and celebrated. And that's just a really lovely atmosphere for everybody. We also have lots of families for whom the financial aspect of the college choice is going to be a big part of the decision. And so we're used to that being an integral part of the search, is making sure that not only can the student get admitted to colleges, but that the family can afford it. We think it's really important for parents to be able to, pay their mortgage and retire and eat. And so we really want to honor the idea that this has an important financial aspect for many families. Number five, as it says, we model and cultivate a calm, low stress, and collaborative approach. Certainly around deadline days and nights, we know that we're going to probably be looking over some essays late in the evening and those sorts of things. But we really, I think, emphasize that this doesn't have to be a stressful part of life, that students can take responsibility to start early with our guidance and get things done in a calm manner. And I think also we provide the perspective that this is an important decision, an important part of life, but that it is going to work out in the end. And there's lots of ways for it to work out. It also models the Fountain Valley environment and community, where this is a very supportive and collaborative community. Students are happy when each other succeeds in getting into colleges. There's no sense of competition or of someone taking someone else's spot. So that's just really nice that that's the way it is here. And finally, we all get along. As I just said, we have all heard and read lots of horror stories about how this process goes in different parts of the country and different schools, where students and teachers and parents and counselors are at each other's throats, and it's an unpleasant time of life. It is not that way at all here. I've had no unpleasant conversations so far this year. And even at my old school, I always used to say, when I first started teaching and coaching, I coached seventh grade baseball and had way more angry phone calls about that than I do about college counseling. We're all on the same team here. We all love and support students. And so it's really, it's nice that we all just really get along. So that's a little bit about how we think things go here. And now my colleague Stephen is going to continue with some suggestions for underclassmen, ninth and 10th graders, and what they can be doing right now. Thanks. Hope to see you soon in person.
So thanks to Mr. Kurtzman virtually, and I'll just echo a couple things there first before I hand it off to Mr. Jackson, that those last couple pieces are the big ones in my view. I came from East Coast, as many people who work at Fountain Valley did, and it was definitely a more high pressure, high stress kind of situation. You can tell from Mr. Kurtzman's voice, you'll hear from Mr. Jackson's too. We are a much more even keel, laid back, but they're going to push you as far as you can go. Academically, we're going to push you as far as you can go. You're going to get into, working on the highest end colleges you want to, as long as it's the right fit for you, as opposed to that pressure situation. I'll also say two other things. One, I lost the battle of putting Mr. Kurtzman's head actually on his head to talk. Marketing wouldn't allow me to do it. I thought it would be good. And I just realized that Will's in that picture and he's in the room. So I just realized that. So I will hand it off to Mr. Jackson, and you just let me know when to switch the slides.
All right, thanks, Alex, and thanks, Jeff. This is my 25th year in admissions and college counseling work, and it's always fun to find one's calling. I really enjoy talking about college with students. It is an amazing opportunity to continue your learning. What makes college counseling enjoyable and easy at Fountain Valley really is our broad curriculum and our teachers and our shared experiences that we offer both in the classroom and beyond. There are sort of three areas here that I'll touch on lightly: sort of exploring your extracurricular interests and developing them, getting to know adults, and doing the best you can academically. Obviously, being the best student, all things being considered, is important. Fountain Valley values scholarship, and we're an academic institution with a broad range of courses in all of the major disciplines. So this is a place where students can really begin to develop interests later on in college. We don't necessarily specialize here at Fountain Valley, but our courses do go deep across the board in the humanities, fine arts, and in STEM. Being a good student is important. And what Jeff didn't mention was really just the college counseling timeline. Fountain Valley follows a traditional college counseling timeline. We spend a teeny bit of time with ninth graders, a little more with 10th graders, quite a bit with 11th graders, and that individual work that Jeff was talking about, where we all get along and find the fit and really help students kind of make sense and synthesize their body of work here at Fountain Valley. And that allows them to inform their college process, right? So with Sam and Caleb and Will here, that I hope they talk about how their experiences as a student at Fountain Valley informed their initial college list, and the courses and their extracurricular activities really help them make final and more definitive decisions about, this is where I would like to apply, this is where I would like to enroll. So, and they're all great students too. Doing well in your classes, there's some reciprocity there. We have teachers that are committed to your learning, right? You're not going to be on your own. And there's a lot of support that takes place in and outside of the classroom in grades 9 through 12. Sort of mentioning that support, getting to know one's teachers, getting to know your coaches is really important for a number of reasons. You develop good skills and interacting with adults, and it's important to be social, but also those are important adult mentors for you. They can help you identify areas of interest or areas of talent, not just in the classroom, but beyond. And I know Mr. Harlan's going to talk a little bit about college, playing sports in college a little bit there. Exploring your extracurricular interests and developing them. This is a school that is, I really do feel this, and I see it every day. It's just shared experiences. This is a school that relies and encourages participation in a lot of things. And that is something very distinctive to a competitive boarding school like we are. You can arrive as you are and get involved in so many different aspects of this school. And that's really special. From a college counseling perspective, all of those experiences inform your decisions about what type of school you're looking for. But colleges like to see students who are interested, who are curious, who are courageous, open-minded, that like to get involved, because they really are the lifeblood of any school. And here at Fountain Valley, if you want to do it, most likely you can make it happen, and you're going to be with a group of like-minded folks. So all of those experiences, being a good student, being supported by adults, and having a depth and breadth to your extracurricular life, really help shape an applicant's narrative. And in the business, we say it just makes it pointy. There are certain aspects that Fountain Valley students present that are difficult to ignore when they're being evaluated by colleges. And this year's results have been great. A really broad list of acceptances, and I'm looking forward to watching the seniors sort of narrow their choices, and on May 1st, we'll have a final list for the class of 2024. It's shaping up to be just fantastic. So it's been a lot of fun. Next slide. What your child could do now if they want to. Sort of like the pure definition of initiative is action in the absence of order. It's important beyond just what students are being asked to do in the classroom. Reading is still a vital activity. It's an important thing to continue to encourage your child to do, is to read independently. Research suggests that it helps improve standardized test scores, which I think will begin to play. Standardized testing has always played an important role in college admissions, but post-pandemic, several schools switched to test optional or test flexible policies. That pendulum is sort of swinging a little back to having certain schools require SAT and ACT scores. So an inexpensive way to score well on a standardized test is to read a lot, or take full advantage of free online test prep, Khan Academy, the College Board, the ACT. There are plenty of resources online to sharpen your test taking skills. Visiting schools when you can. If you're on vacation and you're driving past a university, just park the car and take a walk. Boots on the ground are really important when students begin to decide what a good fit is and what a good fit is not. And I know our students will talk a little bit about their college visits, I hope. And if you're in the Springs or the Denver area, there are plenty of schools where you can pop over on a Saturday or a Sunday, or on a holiday. And there's visitor parking, and you can kind of walk around campus and soak up the vibe there. There are plenty of guidebooks out and available. Several of my friends have written books about the college admission process, but Jeff and I really like the Fisk Guide to Colleges. We feel like that's a pretty objective, no nonsense, affordable resource if you're looking for that tactile experience in paperback. But there are plenty of online resources, paperless resources. Fountain Valley does publish a college counseling handbook. It's a thrilling read. I mean, I once a week I'm going through that. I mean, there's actually some really good stuff in there. It breaks down the timeline of the college application process, provides more principles, by which, Mr. Kurtzman runs the college counseling office, and how we support students in grades 9, 10, 11, and 12. It's a great resource for parents and students if they just have any questions about any aspect of the college admission process. It's covered. It can definitely ease your mind. So those are some basic things that kids can do now, but mostly just have fun and find the joy in life and find the joy in learning and participating, and to know that life is about shared experiences. And the more we allow, and I say we as parents and educators, the more we provide resources and encourage independence, that college process is going to be much easier. And I do find Fountain Valley students to be independent. And I would say 100% of my group really made it their own process this year. And that was really refreshing. Casting a wide net. And I think that speaks directly to, that top 30 or 40 hit list of colleges and universities here in the United States and internationally. I have a map on my wall in the office, has 1,400 colleges and universities out there. All the schools are loaded with talented faculty, amazing resources. And let's not forget, Tim Cook, CEO of Apple, went to Auburn University. He didn't go to Stanford or MIT. That's one of my favorite examples of it's not necessarily where you go, it's what you make of it while you're there. And thankfully, Jeff and I work at a school that allows us to visit campuses. So I think collectively have been to over 300 colleges and universities. So if the idea of widening that net is overwhelming, Jeff and I can help you with that, because we've probably been there, seen that, and had a great visit. As it relates to conversations about the college process, it's always good to be honest and to find some neutral territory and to sort of read the room as to when is a good and bad time to talk about the college process. If you're nervous about the college process and your child's in 9th or 10th grade, just redirect that conversation back to their how they're doing, how they feel about their classes. Do they feel invested? Do they feel seen? Do they feel helped? Those are really important aspects of a high school experience. But as you move towards 11th and 12th grade, it's always good to have an idea of geographic location, distance from home, affordability, which Jeff and I are very sensitive to as well, and any other factors that are important to your family system. The more clarity that you and your child have going into the sort of the heavier parts of the college process, the better that we can serve both as college admission professionals, but also that counseling piece, which deals with fit and affordability, because ultimately we want your child to be happy and we want them to continue to thrive. The success of a college counseling program isn't the matriculation list. It's where a student is 7 or 10 years from now.
Thank you very much, Mr. Jackson. Appreciate that. And I also, as he was talking, I threw into the chat the FIS guide, the link to the FIS guide, as well as the link to the FES college document. So you should be able to access those there. And if there's anything else, I'll throw some more stuff in. But now I want to listen. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, there's just one question about recommendations for pre-college programs. Yes, we provide those recommendations if necessary, but also instructional faculty. They realize that they may be responsible for those letters of recommendation.
Perfect. Thanks for being on top of that. Appreciate it. So I want to hear a little bit from the students now, and I'm sure everyone else does as well. So we'll just go around and whoever would like to go first can, but would just like to hear a little bit about your college search process and how the heck the college counseling office and just Fountain Valley faculty staff, whoever helped you to narrow down kind of what your focus is. So Caleb, Sam, Will, whoever would like to go first, you can go, but we're going to hear from all three of you. So it doesn't really matter who goes first.
I'm fine going first.
Perfect.
All right. So I'm Caleb. I'm a senior at Fountain Valley. I've been here for 4 years, and I'm a day student, so I live in Colorado Springs. I think the biggest thing about the college counseling office is that they're always there for you and they're always available. I think I met with Mr. Jackson probably like 4 times a week in the entire fall. Was always emailing him like, "Hey, can we meet during this block? Can you look at my essay? Can you look at this recommendation?" So just having someone there to go over your essay with you and give recommendations. I kind of came into the year with like no thought whatsoever where I was going to college. I had like a list of like 25 schools, kind of all over the place, really no common theme. And so I sat down with Mr. Kurtzman and we just kind of sorted through it together. And he had some suggestions and was like, he had a lot of knowledge about the colleges. And even though we didn't have a lot of time together to get to know each other prior to this year, he was able to sense what a college would be a good fit for me and kind of give me that insight. And so we narrowed it down to like 10 schools. And then throughout the application process, he was always there with different information at different schools because they all require different things. And so just help with that and supplementals was a lot of great activities to go through with him. And I think that was the biggest help and big stress reliever, just knowing someone that knows the process and is able to help you through it.
I can go next. So my name's Will. I'm also a 4-year day student senior, just like Caleb. And I'd say, as for my college process, it probably really started the second semester of junior year. I started coming up with a list myself of just some colleges that I'd heard of over the course of my life, but not a big list. And again, even for your senior year, when you're going into it, you don't even have to have a well thought out list of all the places you're going to. More often than not, that list is going to change a bunch of times, and you might add schools even late first semester senior year that you may have even never considered before. And that's also just a testament to just the resources that Fountain Valley has. The counselors, of course, have good experience not only knowing the schools, but also like what they look like and what the vibe is and like how, you as everything you are would fit in that place and like all those kind of potential factors that you couldn't get just from looking at a website. And my list changed a bunch of times from like that whole year of 2023 from second semester junior year to going into senior year. And through also going to the college webinars and the college visits that Fountain Valley has, uh, every week and on Blackbaud, which is the calendar system for Fountain Valley, you can see a list of colleges that will visit. And I think practically every week of the school year, there will be at least 2 or 3 visiting during lunch or during an afternoon or something. And I found out pretty much half my list through just attending these random visits and then finding out about these awesome schools. And I would like to hit on a previous note that Mr. Jackson was saying about extracurriculars and how Fountain Valley genuinely really does a good job of supporting them. I applied to Vanderbilt University through the School of Music and got in and committed recently. And I would like to say that 2 years ago, or even like a year ago, I didn't even think that I'd be doing music in college. And this is again something that I've kind of discovered this past year and made the choice to like, oh, I think I want to pursue music in college. And then after talking with Mr. Kurtzman, who was my advisor, after talking with him a bunch, and also just through the system of Fountain Valley, I was able to pursue piano on top of everything that Fountain Valley has on top of academics. And over this past year, I submitted audition videos, and then it worked out. And I think that example is just a testament again to even if you have interests that are not even related to academics or anything that Fountain Valley has, you can still pursue it and still find success with it. And the college office is a really good resource for that.
My name is Sam. I'm a 4-year boarding student and I'm from Denver, so not too far away. But as Mr. Jackson has stated multiple times this evening, that how important it is to our counselors and how much time they take to get to know you as a person. I think it's really important to emphasize that first, that is true, and second, how vital that actually is to the college process, especially for a student that has really no idea where they're looking at going. All I went into the first semester of this year was I knew that I liked Oregon as a state, and I had just heard so many horror stories from my friends back home that the process was just very scary and stressful, and they were always terrified of their counselors. But my first few weeks meeting with Mr. Jackson, I think we probably talked about academics and majors maybe twice, and it was just a really honestly relaxing time to get to know each other. And I think he knows me really well. And after that time, he presented me with a very strongly curated list of all these colleges that he had kind of gathered what my interests were and my needs based on just those 2 weeks of getting to know me. And 4 of my top colleges right now are ones that I didn't even know about that he recommended to me purely based on getting to know me. So I think that that process is just so important, even though the first thing that may come to your mind is not how helpful that can be with the college search processes.
And from the students too, and anybody can answer, and if you all want to, that's fine. If one or two want to, that's fine too. Does tell us a little bit about the actual application process too. Like, how did that work at a place like Fountain Valley, working with the college counselors, like physically applying, doing essays, preparing for interviews, preparing for college visits? Like, what was your interaction with the college office with all that kind of stuff?
I think they were pretty much there every step of the way. They have it mapped out really well about what needs to be done by certain dates. I think early in might have been October, we had like a day that was completely set aside where we could just work on college applications, where they were there with us in the morning. So they were reading through essays, going through the Common App with us, right there by our sides, going through it. And then I think throughout the fall, you can go in any time and see them and just work alongside them. Like I had my computer open with Mr. Jackson and we were filling out stuff for each college. So it's very hands on and very helpful.
I think just adding on to Caleb, and specifically the element of the college office offering so much in terms of the writing. I feel like a lot of private schools that have a college admissions team might get to spend maybe a lot of time on the Common App essay, which is a big part of the application. But because we only have about 25 kids per counselor, which is a very small ratio, the counselors could also work and spend a lot of time on the other supplemental essays and not just the Common App essay. Like over the course of all my 10 or so colleges, I had maybe close to like 35 different essay prompts. And of course, Mr. Kurtzman, over the course of the fall, was able to review pretty much all of those and give me feedback on all of those, which is a pretty crazy thing. And I'm only one of 25 kids, and he did that for pretty much everyone else. And so to have that level of effort and time being dedicated to everyone just for the writing, I think is truly special.
I also think it's so important to emphasize how eager every teacher at this school is to help you with the process. I mean, Mr. Jackson was my main college counselor, but I did have Mr. Kurtzman and almost every English teacher that I had been taught by in my 4 years of being here offer their help and thoughts and guidance. So I just think everything single staff member here is so eager to help you. And like Will said, that can help every bit of your application feel looked over and just submitting those feeling really strongly about them.
That's great. Yeah, thanks so much. Appreciate all your insights. And with that being said, and faculty and staff helping, I want to introduce our athletic director, Mr. Harlan. And Jeff, can you talk a little bit about a couple different things? The athletic recruitment process in general, and what resources are available there, And also, like, what can students do if they're interested in playing sports at the college level, but maybe aren't being recruited actively, from outside?
Absolutely. Good evening, everybody. Great job by my fellow panelists, and I too am excited to see the final outcomes of the class of 2024, and we get reminded every week in all school assembly how few days left they have on campus here. So we'll be cherishing those days with them in our community. First of all, obviously. Athletics is been a huge part of my life. I was a collegiate athlete. Mrs. Harlan, head of Fountain Valley School, my wife, she's a two-time two-sport All-American in her college experience, and we were fortunate to have 3 children go on, 2 of whom played Division I athletics in college, and a daughter who played Division III athletics, but is the recipient of or earned 4 national championships in her collegiate experience. So, college athletics provide great life habits, relationships. Teach you so much about the challenges of life, the ups and downs, and also about health and wellness. It's an extension of a lot that we're trying to teach the students, the importance of all of that here at Fountain Valley. And certainly we're as we are encouraging of them exploring new avenues and new adventures here. We want that to continue if that's of interest for them beyond FVS. In general, you've got so many resources in helping you sort of navigate the recruiting process. Obviously, first and foremost, it begins with your family, their support and their encouragement of you, relatives, family, friends, anyone who maybe has had that experience of being a collegiate athlete is a valuable resource, and someone you should be willing to listen to and hear from. Teammates, classmates from high school who have gone on to do it. They are a tremendous resource as well. And then obviously your high school coach. I've been both a collegiate coach and a high school coach, and helping my high school athletes navigate their way and be an advocate for them in the process, reaching out to coaches on their behalf. Fountain Valley coaches are doing that, and that's a big part of their responsibility. And they're always willing to be an advocate for our students. And then, if you are involved in a club sport, or, your club coach would be another resource for sure. And then, some other just real important resources. Students should be thinking about developing their portfolio, their profile, like Will talked about his piano portfolio that he submitted. Whether it's arts or music or athletics, developing a profile that showcases what distinguishes you as a student athlete to an institution. That's a real important step in the process. And then also college camps and clinics. In the chat, somebody asked about, pre-college programs. That's the same thing. There's a lot of college clinics out there, a lot of college camps out there. Our daughter, who was the college field hockey player, she was recruited based off of going to a clinic, and then signed, sealed, and delivered very soon thereafter. So, and same with our son. He went to a number of showcases. He was a collegiate baseball player, a number of showcases, a number of college camps, for him to get a feel for those different institutions, as well as those institutions to get an assessment, an in-person assessment of his abilities and his character and his work ethic and that type of thing. So those are all important steps in the process, and those can begin in the 9th grade, the summer between 9th and 10th grade, and continue all the way through to senior year. And then, lastly, Alex will bring up a slide here. The NCAA Clearinghouse is an incredibly valuable resource for parents to learn and students to learn all about the different levels of recruiting, the terminology that's associated, what's a contact, what's evaluation, what's a verbal commitment, what's an official commitment, what's a national letter of intent, how important is a campus visit. So this is a great resource, NCAA Clearinghouse, and Alex can throw this in the chat for you. What are the eligibility standards? What kind of academics do you need to play Division I sports and be recruited to be a Division I athlete, Division II athlete? So again, I can't recommend this highly enough as a resource for parents and student athletes. There's just a great deal of information in here for the student athlete and then specific information for each level of sport that a student athlete may be interested in pursuing. And the process does really vary in terms of how aggressive certain sports are in the recruiting process. College football is probably the most intense at the Division I level, but any Division I sport, they're going to be making determinations on student athletes at a very early time in a student athlete's high school career. Typically, the junior year being the most important for that for a good many Division I college athletes. But even in the Division III ranks, and I'll finish with a quick example. Tufts University, for their baseball program, they start off with inquiries at 500 students. And they narrow that down to 50 students that they are actively recruiting. And that narrows down to only 5 students who come for an official invited campus visit. And then if they need to extend it, they'll maybe go as high as 10. So you're going from 500 students in the initial inquiry phase down to 5, possibly 10. So the process, and that's a Division III university, liberal arts university in the Boston area that has about 7,500 students in it. So it's a big it's a larger size liberal arts college, but they really narrowed their pool down throughout the process very quickly. So the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Get on websites, be proactive, promote yourself. If this is something that you are interested in pursuing, those are my key tips. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks. Appreciate it. And I can tell you a couple of things too, just kind of scrolling through the NCAA site, and my background was also athletics at the college level. But there's some good things on there just in general about like what to ask about student life and financial aid, like for anybody. And also, except for Mr. Harlan, does anybody know what the Tufts mascot is? Anyone? Oh,
Jumbo.
what? Jumbos. Very good. I'm impressed. I like random trivia on mascots for no particular reason. But yeah, there's just some good stuff. And then also that is just general good advice also about how it goes from like a big pool to a small pool, because that could be something like, Rhode Island School of Design, and you submit a portfolio and they're doing the exact same thing for art. And, Caltech and those schools are doing the exact same thing, but for aerospace engineering and science and, that kind of thing. So it's a good microcosm of just how the search process kind of works in general, just on a very specific basis. And then, your connections are more with the coaches than they are necessarily with the admissions department, because you kind of have them in from that side too. So as we wrap up with only a few minutes left here, I would love to hear right now. Thank you, Mr. Jackson, for being on top of the questions, by the way, because he was typing the answers in. But I would love to hear just like your biggest piece of advice from everybody here on the panel for any current eighth grader, ninth grader, 10th grader, because we have all three in the room right now, of just your biggest advice that you can think back from when you were eighth, ninth, 10th, or when you were working with those, and any order is fine with me.
I think my biggest piece of advice, it's kind of two things. Not stress out about it too much in like the younger years. Like enjoy your time as a freshman and sophomore or in high school, and don't fret too much about college. And then just kind of stay on track of what you need to do. Keep your academics well. Try out new things, do extracurriculars, things like that. That really diversifies your application and just helps you figure out what you want to do later on in life, and just stay ahead and on top of things. Don't let everything pile up to the last minute. Um, so yeah.
Great,
Yeah,
thanks.
I think just generally just be optimistic and don't try to predict the future. I mean, especially with college, like college is such a toss up. It's easy to, everyone has a dream school, of course, but like be all right that, you can't really predict the future. I mean, for one, I didn't even know that I was going to pursue music until like a year ago. And I mean, just be optimistic about the process. And like Caleb said, surround yourself with extracurriculars and just things that maybe never you considered before, because you might just well find a new passion that you continue for the rest of your life.
I would say that my biggest piece is that, as Caleb said, keep grades strong and work hard. But for me at least, I had a little bit of a significant dip in grades my sophomore year. And at the beginning of this year was freaking out that pulled my GPA down, and that I want to get into all the schools that I wanted to. And I actually had a very successful college process despite that. So if there ever is a bump in your academic, I don't know, career, don't freak out that that's gonna totally mess up all your hopes and dreams. And I also saw that in the questions there was one about international schools, and I just wanted to say that I applied to an international school, and Mr. Jackson, but actually both Mr. Jackson and Mr. Kurtzman were highly knowledgeable about schools over there. So yeah.
I think mine will be that won't be as specific, but just extend yourself grace and grace to others, like latitude for yourself and for others. That's just critical. And be fearless when asking for help. Because that is sometimes it's difficult to ask for help, but at Fountain Valley, when you ask for help, you get help, and it's meaningful and there's a real substance there. So, and I would say lastly, learn how to ask good questions of yourself and others.
My final advice would, for those 8th, 9th, and 10th grade parents on the call, explore all of the incredible opportunities that are in front of you. If you come in with a passion, it's fine to follow that passion. But if you don't yet have that figured out, that's okay, and keep exploring until you find something that really resonates with you. Like Will said, he found this piano passion of his about a year ago. So there's plenty of time and lots of options to pursue and explore passions here at FVS, and give something new a try if you've not quite found what you love yet. Keep looking for something new. Thanks.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much the biggest takeaway from all of this, and I think you've heard it from the students here, from Ms. Jackson, from Mr. Harlan, Mr. Kurtzman via video, is that my biggest personal piece of advice is stay open, and really stay open to the possibilities of what you're studying, where you're going to go, where you're looking at, where you're considering. And again, because we want to make sure that you go to the school to study what you want to study, to be the best fit so you can be successful now and into the future and like forever and ever. And, you know, a lot of the time that means leaving your options open and making sure that you have first options, you have secondary. But, you know, I would say don't come in as a ninth grader and say, I'm going to go to X college no matter what, no matter what, no matter what, because you might change your mind. You might come up with something better that might not just not work out for some reason. But really, the major part is by being open to it, you could open a door to something that's really entertaining and really exciting for yourself that could then carry you throughout the rest of your life, which is a really crazy thing to think about when you're, you know, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, even 18, 19, 20, you keep going. And so it's pretty good advice in general. But I think that's kind of how our process works, and that's kind of how our thought works from a college counseling standpoint and from a school in general, is to kind of keep those options open as you go forward. Any parting words from the panel before we close up shop here?
Thanks for your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for everybody for attending. We really appreciate it. If you have anything else, please feel free to reach out to me. Again, I'm Alex Winokur. I'm the Director of Enrollment Management here at Fountain Valley. Reach out to Mr. Jackson, Mr. Harlan. If you want to talk to anybody, let us know. We are happy to get you in touch with any faculty, staff, students, parents, alumni, whatever. So please let us know. Thanks so much. Have a great evening. We will see you around campus.